Cool. How you going, everybody? Trent and Mick here. As most of you aware, over the last few years, we have competed all over Australia and all overseas with a huge support from our local businesses and individuals. We want to bring like-minded people together and listen to athletes across the world and their journeys. So hopefully this podcast is interesting and listened to, and we're talking to
Rob Camilleri.
Okay.
Mr. Spartan himself.
The king of the Oceania or Apex, whatever you want to call it. What do you do, Rob?
So my background is varied across a number of businesses, but my main skill set is actually in structured credit. I'm a partner in a big investment firm, which is based in Melbourne, called Realm Investment House. We've got offices in Sydney and Brisbane. We employ about 50 staff. And we manage about 13 billion across the debt capital markets.
Wow.
So that keeps me busy. So that's my day job. That keeps the lights on. In my spare time, I chip into the Spartan Oceania business, and that's been a real passion of mine because obviously I've been involved with Spartan for probably 10 years now, and like yourselves, travelled the world. Got to know a lot of the international personalities and ownership globally. So when the license came up here in Australia, it presented a really interesting opportunity because not only from Spartan, but all the other brands that are sort of a stapled in the brand suite, which is part of a strategy of mine around developing brands or brands that need to be rejuvenated or invested in. So Spartan sort of ticked all those boxes.
Yep.
Because it came with Tough Mudder, came with Decker, came with Highlander, came with Spartan Kids, Endurance and Trail. So, and there's probably 4 or 5 other brands, which I'm sure if we put our hands up to bring them to Australia, that they wouldn't say no.
And when you took over, Rob, it was just Spartan, wasn't it? Oh, and Tough Mudder was
Yeah,
not
Chris had just started to bring Tough Mudder back.
Yep.
And so, as part of the transition, we supported him on that first one. And then, so that was a great thing. And then, so the thing with me was proving brand diversity, geographic diversity around, could the business transform itself? And so that transitional year was quite important to, show that, Spartan could be bigger than just what it was.
Yep.
Is it traveling that way? How it's sort of growing slowly to that what you envision?
Yep.
Or we sort of need to a little bit more.
So what's really interesting around what the races want and what we can deliver, there's always ongoing challenges. So finding the right venues is actually the biggest one, and making sure the calendar can deliver what the races, one, can afford, and two, what's good for the business. So, for example, Bright's an interesting venue where it's loved by a lot of races. We'll probably get 4.5, 5,000 people there, but as a business, we just can't make any money out of it. And the thing being is that it's really expensive post COVID to go there, and the Bright or Alpine Shire just want to charge us like 80 to 90 grand to access the mountain. So and we bring $5 million to that town, but they've got no funding, they've got no way to keep us there. But all of the community want us there. But like as you know, we're not a charity, and so we've got to find ways to bring that race back to those iconic locations. And that sort of led to us going to Lakes Entrance because the council there was very supportive. It's a new venue. It's probably as far, very different environment on the beach.
Get to run
So,
with we.
Yeah, that's our
yeah. And, I thank you two guys for encouraging us and just bugging the crap out of me to get down there and have a look at the place. But I'm quite excited about Lakes Entrance because, we're gonna run it like Greece, right?
Yep.
We're gonna run it in and out of the town. We're going to get the local community involved, and I think that that's got real features to be a multi-year venue.
Yeah.
That if we can get the right, tick all the boxes, and people turn up and have a great experience there, like that could be our destination event for literally the next couple of years, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Traditionally, it's equivalent distance from Melbourne
Yeah,
Right.
either way, Bright or
Hmm.
Lakes. Obviously, it's a holiday destination as such. But just
that's right.
beforehand, you were saying things to be affordable with the OCRWC. What's going on there? Because those tickets are ridiculously cheap. We can say that 'cause we've already got ours.
Yeah.
But
Few events.
Yeah.
I raced at Mammoth with this OCRWC, and I reckon it was $400 or $500 per race, and you
Yeah.
got over
Well,
100.
look, it's the first year for the OCR Community World Championships to be down under.
Yep.
So we've made a conscious decision to build that event globally.
Beautiful.
And we're very conscious that if we want to attract international competitors, that there's an additional cost there with travel and whatnot and accommodation. So,
Yep.
we've got to find a balance, because if we can prove in May that we can run a world class event and people turn up and they go, wow, I want there to be the wow factor on the global stage for the OCR event. And
Yep.
then when whether we go back to Ivory Rock in future events, or we go to Sydney, or we bring it to Melbourne, we will
Like
run
Saturn.
this event in March next year in Tasmania.
Beautiful. OCRWC.
That's right. So, the
Yeah, let
Tasmanian
everyone.
government's really excited to have us there. And so
That'd be
that's
cool.
going to be really cool from a new location perspective. And, that's going to be very accessible for the Victorians.
Yeah.
Anybody can fly into Tassie from all of the major cities. And from an international perspective, it's only one extra flight, which is reasonably cheap when you're
Cool.
traveling that
Jeez.
How
far.
many
So
how many flights do we do, Rob, traveling around?
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. So I'm working really hard on an airline partner. So we might have a
Oh, cool.
interesting one to show you guys eventually. But so when we think about affordability, you can't have 5 destinations in the calendar per annum, because the cost of turning up costs you a couple of grand. You got travel, airfares, accommodation, race tickets, and it becomes a really expensive race. So that's why, looking at the calendar, it's very important for us to balance the calendar out with urban races, those stadium races, which are quite popular, and those destination races, so that you can plan your year and go, I'm going to go to Lakes Entrance, or I'm going to go to OCR, I'm going to do the stadium race at Wollongong, I'm going to go do the urban in Werribee. I'll go back to Glenworth Valley because it's only an hour's drive out of Sydney.
Yep.
So those choices become really, really easy. We want to grow the community, so reinvesting in the brand is really important. So, we've revamped all of the obstacles. So we've brought back the Fortress, obviously. You'll see in Ipswich that there are going to be some new Spartan obstacles that will be revealed. And what the global community is transitioning to is that, some of these variations around, including, some of the OCR obstacles, can be reformatted for Spartan races.
Beautiful.
So the rules, so the formats are getting really, collaborative around, multidiscipline.
Yep.
Even as far as maybe bringing in some of the, harder, tough mudder obstacles that have got a lot of climbs in it, or a lot of hangs in it.
Yep.
Because the OCR sport obviously is growing quite aggressively with the inclusion in the Olympics, and we'll have the 80-meter rig at Ipswich all over the 4 days. So obviously there'll be the global championship qualifier for China. There'll be a OCR championship for the 80-meter rig, and then over the weekend there'll be the Australian Ninja Games. There'll be the modern pentathlon qualifiers, and then I think on the Sunday we're planning a come and try event along with some other activities. So, that's quite exciting from a sport perspective, because we'll bring that to Werribee in August.
Is that the 80-metre you're going to
That's
bring?
the 80-metre rig,
Yep.
yeah. So we're building that out with all of, the required components.
Yep.
I got the timing gear sent to my house the other day, so we've
You
just got
can
to.
start practicing.
Oh, I know. I'll just have to figure out. I mean, I might have to send that out to your backyard, because you guys have got a
Deal.
whole course down there. So maybe you can test it for us.
We'll just muck around out there then, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I see,
Spartan's quite exciting from that perspective, because if we can get that balance right, you're going to see some great events, where you're going to have 4,000 to 5,000 people, all, competing on a global stage with the national series. We want to do a lot of interesting stuff with the national series where, I know we only run 2 races as a qualifier, but, we want to amplify it. And if you do all 3, you're going to get, some special hexes, or, what I want to really bring in next year is a championship ring, so that you can,
how
so
cool.
that if you do all 3 races, you get a ring for a guy, and you get a bracelet for a female. And this year we'll, because we're limited or pushing up against time, we'll do a special, national series trifecta hex.
Beautiful.
So that becomes, the well sought after thing. We will, for the first time, bring out the Delta Awards for the national series across all of the elite and all of the age groups, both male and female.
That's going to
So
make a lot of people happy. That's
yes, I know, because there's been a lot of requests for that. So we're definitely
I
delivering
didn't
on
win
that.
it all.
And then what else do we want to do that's different? We're going to, with the new hex medals, there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff that you can build your story. So, really double down on, how many races you guys have done. Like, have you done 100 races? There's going to be a special hex. I want to do something to bring a lot of the real diehards to, get to 300 races. And, I know when they had the first one in the US get the friend, they gave him a Harley. So I'm not sure if I can afford a Harley, but,
Oh,
we
I'll
might
get
have
his
to
bike
sit down and
license.
figure out, what
Yeah.
the grand prize is going to be for the first one to 300, right? But that's all the interesting stuff that really is important to me, because it brings the community together, creates all of those discussions. And I remember when I really got involved with Spartan, it was all about the new people I met and the positivity around the whole community. That we were
Yep.
all, even though we're all competitors, we're all mates,
Yep.
right? We're all helping each other, and we're all talking. And it was like, hey, you're going to go to Bright? Yep. All right. Well, why don't we share a hire car? Why don't we do this? Why don't we share a house? And that's where you really build some long lasting relationships. And that was really important to me, and one of the key reasons why I wanted to get more involved is to really build out for that. So with Lakes
Yep.
Entrance, it's a perfect opportunity now. Like, we've got a fuel crisis. We're gonna do some stuff around carpooling, that if you turn up at Lakes Entrance and you've got your car full, you're gonna get some really interesting rewards, right? So we're gonna encourage a lot of that in the community, where if the car's full, everybody in the car might get a $50 merch voucher, or
Yeah.
everybody gets a 25% code to the next race, or so we're gonna encourage people to one, come together as a community, and 2, support each other, because why should 5 people drive up by themselves when you can all carpool?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a 4/5 saving that can all be going into post race beers, right? So
Well, you might at the finish line.
That's
But,
right.
yeah,
and I think that scenario, and we've always said it, is the community. Like once you do a race, you sort of understand it, if that makes sense. Like it's all right for us to say, well, we're mates anyway. Well, yeah, we're mates anyway. But
Hope so.
for us, the people that you meet, like you said, are lifelong friends. You've met them 3 or 4 times or 20 times, whatever it is. But it doesn't change from that initial hello, how you going, and everyone's warm and friendly. And we've always said after the races, it's back to how you going,
Yep.
what are you up to? And we had a guy like Yosti that was like he was an Australian champion for a lot of years.
Oh,
And
that was
he's
cool.
going Trent and us. So he
That Hunter
beat
Valley.
him. I was 2 or 3 seconds behind him, and I was on top of the world. And he's going, "Yeah, do this to get quicker," and all. Like he was giving us tips, and he was the work like Australian multi-champion, but yet he's trying to help us. And
Yeah.
Trent had already beat him, and I was just behind him. Like it was phenomenal, and it's just the way everyone is.
At the finish line, he was teaching us how to crawl through the bar. I can't remember. It was
Yeah,
barbed
it's
wire.
barbed wire,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, so that's cool.
it's things like that.
No,
Like,
he's a great bloke. You
Yeah.
know, and they're the people like you know, and I think that saying you'll know at the finish line, it actually has a lot of relevance to
Yep.
you know, Spartan racing and the community, because like I remember my first race, I was absolutely shitting my pants. You know, it's like, I don't know, like it was a 7K, it was a sprint. I go, I'm going to die. You know, like, so, and they had this thing called a rookie pass. I go, I'm going to register for that.
Where was
And
that, Rob?
that was at Dalesford or
Oh,
Lake
yeah.
Jura, I think it was, many,
Yeah.
many years ago. I think it was in 2016 or 17.
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh, you know what? What's the first wave? Right. And so there was this thing called Elite. So I said, well, I'm going to register for the 6 o'clock wave. We go there. I'm in the pen and there's people with no shirts on. And I'm going, oh, what have I got myself into? And I go, oh, thank God I got the rookie pass. They go, no rookie passes for Elite. So I go, what do you mean it's my first race? I go, oh my God. Anyway, I ended up an hour and a half later, made it through. And I'm going, man, how good's this? Never looked back. And just kept on doing them. And then I remember I trained with a whole bunch of people that were all Spartan maniacs. And my thing was I used to climb the stairs of the gym, which was in a
Yep.
basement of a big building in the CBD. So I'd grab a 20-kilo sandbag and just go up 48 flights of steps and down again and time myself. And I try to beat my time every day. So when I go back into the gym, they'll go, you know, you should go and do Killington. I go, what's that? They go, that's the hardest race in the world. They go, okay, not knowing what I'm getting myself. And that's sort of, you know, how I started my Spartan journey. And I, you know, managed to do that, did my first beast, you know, got my first trifecta. And I go, what's a trifecta? Oh, no, just keep on doing races and you just collect them, you know. It's like, and I remember, I remember where it really clicked for me is that I think it was 2018, I'd gotten 5 trifectas. And I was so
Wow.
proud of myself. And I'm walking around Bright with my 5 times medal. And there was that chap from Malaysia. I can't remember. I keep forgetting his name. You know, the guy with the beard. He's the ambassador. And he's turned up to Bright to get his 5th trifecta. And I go, oh, man, I've worked so hard. And, you know, this dude's got 5. I've got. So I'm looking at my phone. I'm going, oh, Oman trifecta weekend in 4 weeks. I'm booking a flight. I'm going to get 6. So it just sort of like was like, so I turned up, rang up David Black, who was living over there. So when I'm coming, let's go to the Oman trifecta weekend. And he goes, yeah, man, come pick me up. We'll go. Job done. You know, Oman's a beautiful place. You know, so we did the trifecta weekend, and I actually did really well. Right, I think I finished like 7th in the sprint, 5th in
wow.
the super. I think I finished like 4th in the beast. So I get this invite to come and do the African Middle East Championship.
Wow.
And it was in like late January. So I said to my wife, you know what? I'm 48. I'm never going to get an opportunity to go and compete at this level. I'm in my fittest point. So I said, I'm going. So I went down to Portsea for 4 weeks, just ran on the beach every day. You know, I think I was staying in Sereno. So we'd run down to the beach from Sereno, run up to the heads and run back. And then every day I'd just do a bigger loop on the beach because I'm going to Oman, it's full of sand. So turn up, ring David Black again and go, I'm going to pick you up because it was in Dubai. And he goes, all right, we're going to do this. And, you know, 7.5 hours running out to the deck. He's basically just run out and run back. But, you know,
That's
and
why
there's
that guy is horrible.
choppers going out, picking up people who have fallen over or collapsed or run out of water. You know,
Yeah.
7.5 hours later, I waddle in, finish 5th in my age group, qualify for the World Championships. Go, oh yeah,
Beautiful.
I'm going to Lake Tahoe. And then I go, I've got to bring some people. So all these Spartans that I'd met, I said, mate, you guys are going to go and compete and qualify in your age group so we can all go to Lake Tahoe. So we started traveling. We went to China, we went to Thailand, I think we went to the Philippines, We just did all these races internationally,
So you've
just
done a
to
lot of international
go and do
growth.
age group races so we could, they could finish in the top five, and we ended up
That's cool.
the Muse, um, Shannon came, Errol came, and I did it, and I think there was one more. I can't remember who else, but we all flew into LA, picked up a Winnebago, and we drove around for 2 weeks, and did the Lake Tahoe, which was an amazing
Yeah.
experience. And I got an opportunity to run in my age group in a world championship race where we did the race on the Saturday, which was an open. So we just did a bit of a warm up, and then this storm came through and literally dumped that much snow on the course. So it couldn't start at 7; it started at 1. And so we were going out, and what was really interesting for me, like you had these top athletes, and I was in my wave, so I'm pretty much towards the end of the start line, and we're running up the mountain, and all these top athletes who'd already gone off at 1 hour in are all running back. And I go, "What are you doing?" They go, "We're not going to make it." I go, "Man, you're only like 4Ks in."
Oh,
And it was, and it's always what I said, like 95% of what you do in Spartan is all in your mind. And so we got to the top of the mountain, did all the, we're doing all the obstacles, and we did the 2 minute swim, which was ice water, and that's where half the field lost. They all got cut,
yeah.
Yeah.
and I was one of. I think my wave there's like 390 people started, only 80 finished, and I ranked 60 after 7 hours in the snow.
Oh,
So I was pretty proud of that, even though I ranked 60 in my age group.
yeah.
There was 320 that didn't finish.
And that's the other thing. If you finish, it's a big thing, isn't it? Like
Oh, absolutely. And there's a lot of encouragement. Like we're running at nights with no lights on because they started late, and everybody's on the course with glow sticks, and all the marshals say, "Come on, you're nearly there," and they're just egging you on, just get over
Yeah.
the finish line, because there was so many failures. So it was a real effort by the team in the US to have as many people finish as they practically could. But that's
Yeah.
community, right? Like that's what makes Spartan a great
Yeah.
a great event. When you compare it to all the other global events that are appealing to people now, you hear all those horror stories that they just get treated by like a number.
Mhm.
They're in and out, and it's which ultimately are phases that will live and die. But Spartan will survive because of that community element on it.
Yeah. That's a big thing, isn't it?
That's it. I'm trying to think. You've told us what's on the horizon, but is there anything like how far do you plan? Whether it's events, do you plan next year, 2 years, 3 years? Like what's the
Yeah,
process
so we
for you
try to
then?
have at least 1 year in advance locked in, because what we're trying to do is as we approach the next event's on sale, so that a year in advance, and we'll have a really good deal for the races to go and purchase tickets for the next event. So we'll have a launch sale for OCR community, for Tassie in May,
Yeah.
and then Ivy Rock. We'll go back to Ivy Rock in May next year. OCA in March, Ivy Rock in May. So we'll have a launch event for Ivy Rock 27 in May as well. And then I'm happy to announce it over this podcast, but I'm bringing in a way to make it really easy for our racers to purchase tickets, particularly in this cost of living crisis that we're in. So it's going to be a global first where I'm bringing a lay-by system in for your ticketing. So
Cool.
I think that's
you can lock in the 30% discount,
That's a good idea, Rob.
today, right? And then pay that off in installments. Um, because for me, I want everybody to get that big discount, right? And I know that people, the races out there trying to make ends meet, struggle sometimes, and they go from week to week, race to race. So if I
it's a bit
can,
like sorry, it's a bit like that scenario with buying a car. You can't find 30 grand, but you can find $100 a week. So
that's right.
that's for
Yeah,
to be doing that
A
is
really
the
good idea.
community is awesome, and
yeah,
I think that's going to help people that have done their first one and they're going, yeah, it's awesome, but I want to do a trifecta weekend. At least this way,
Yeah, and
like
you
you
can
said, a
lock
cup
in
of
that
coffee,
big
2 cups.
discount because like discounting is an important thing, but it's all time based. So what I want to be able to do is, you know, if I could sell 5,000 tickets at 30% off, why not? Right. And I know that's it's not practical because, not everybody buys their tickets 12 months in advance.
Yeah.
But if you want to go next year, right, or you want to go to the next race, or you want to buy a season pass, I'm going to offer a way that you can do it and pay it off in installments. And that goes above and beyond all of the Spartan crew opportunities and all the ambassador opportunities to earn points and race credits and to be able to cash them in for ASF funding or cash to pay for things. And I know we've got programs for all of our you know international competitors that we can help support get to international events. But for 95% of the races that just really want to go do Spartan racing, to be able to go and buy a weekend pass at 30% off and not have to pay for it all up front, I think
Yeah.
is really important.
That's such a great idea.
Yeah.
It's going to help so many people. I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's 2 of them here that it'll help. So
No, that's all right. We love you guys, and guys are great ambassadors globally. You're always out there flying the Spartan flag, and we
We
really
try, Rob.
appreciate that. Yeah,
yeah, no,
Now the Sunday markets have been going really good too.
yeah,
yeah,
Lots of interest, lots of local interest around, Rob. Like we're at Benza Park Run this morning, and no joke, nearly all of them, everybody's talking about
yeah.
Spartan
yeah.
Lakes.
They all knew about it, and it's still 5.5 months away, so it's a good sign.
Yeah, we're going to
No,
take
that's great.
we want to take all the gear to Benza Park Run as well.
Yep,
So to sort of show them. So I've been sort of telling them over the last few weeks that we're going to bring it to the Benza Park Run.
yep. I saw you got the spear throw working, which is really good.
Yeah, mate. And we made
Yes.
a dead hang bar now, like a chin up bar. So we
Yeah,
can time people and the winner win something. That's the next thing. So
And thanks to you guys, that like it's all right to see us giving out shirts and things like to people who are getting spear throws, but without you and everyone else, we're just the voice. But given that option of is that challenging? Yes, it is. Well, there's the reward. Like it's awesome, and everyone appreciates it. Some people can't believe they get a t-shirt because they got a spear through a hole, and then when we tell them that on the day if you don't get it's 30 burpees, they sort of their face changes a little bit. So
we try and make them do 10% of it, but they don't want to even do that. So
yeah. And look, it's very obtainable. Like Spartan racing. I mean, I always remember my first race. Like I said, that I was shitting myself. But it's all everybody can complete a Spartan race. So it's like, and it's a 5K now. I think it's like 20 or 22 obstacles. You just got to get up and have a go. And it doesn't matter if it's going to take you an hour or 10 hours. Once you complete it, you'll go, now I've done it. I'm going to do it again and I can do it faster. And I'll then maybe go and do a 10K. And then from the 10K, I'm going to push myself and go do the beast. Like even me, like my ambitions, because I've had shoulder surgeries and stuff like that. I'm back in training now. I want to go do my first ultra,
yeah,
right? And I'm not going to commit at the moment, but if I can get myself right, I'll go and do my first ultra at Lakes Entrance. And
yeah,
I'll do your
there you
deal.
go.
I'll do your deal now. If you're doing your first ultra at Lakes, I'll do mine with you.
There you go.
You're gonna do an
we'll
ultra?
You're gonna, yeah. Well, if Rob does,
Wow.
I will. All right.
Yeah,
Shake on it.
we'll shake on it.
All right, it's a deal.
If I can get the sign off from the doc around my shoulder, because
I'm a doctor.
I'll tell you a funny story.
I'll just
I
fill it out
ran
for you,
for
Rob.
2 years with a split bicep tendon and a torn a shoulder cuff. It might have been at the back, and I averaged like 170 burpees a race. So actually, it was
Wow.
180 because I was 30 at the time because I couldn't do the hangs, right? So couldn't do the monkey bars, couldn't do the rope climb, anything that was hanging overhead because my right shoulder was so weak, I'd failed. So I just burpee out. But now,
Good now.
I want to try to do clean races.
That's all
And
good now, Rob.
yeah,
All good.
Look, I've got to get strength back into it. So, and but I've lost 5 kilos. I'm trying to lose another
Nice.
8 kilos, get back to my fighting weight, and then I'll start doing my crazy stuff in the gym, which scares people, like on the treadmill with a weight vest carrying a sandbag, so that I can on 15 elevation, and they just go, "Oh my god, who's that guy?"
Yeah, that's what you want. So, on that, Rob, what is your biggest challenge at the moment? Would it be your shoulder or?
Yeah, it's really the shoulder, and my feet. I've got to condition my feet because
Yeah.
that's the one thing. If anybody wants to take some advice around managing a outdoor trail running or Spartan racing, is that you really got to have an understanding of where your hot spots are, and you've got to condition your feet for long distance running. The 5Ks are easy, but if you're going to go do a 50,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
just got to go do a lot of kilometers, just to condition my feet and make sure I know where all those blisters are going to pop out.
Yeah.
So I've got a bit of
You're
a
right.
process there, and I keep a foot map, and this is really easy for people to replicate. Every time you feel one, you got one, you draw it on your foot map, and prevention's the best thing, right? Like you never want to be cutting blisters out while you're on course.
So while we're on that, Rob, what would be your best advice for a first timer?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So first timer, pre-hydrate is always an important thing. So up your magnesium, that's number
Not just
one.
beer.
Not just beer. Actually, there is a beer that's got electrolytes in it. Unless you find that one, that's a good one. But pre-hydrate, up your magnesium. And so if you're going to go race on a Saturday or a Sunday, at least 3 days before, you're drinking 3 or 4 liters of water. And there is a ratio depending on how much you weigh, because you don't want to turn up and just go, well, I've just got a bladder, because you'll dehydrate really quickly, and you'll cramp. So to reduce the likelihood of all that happening, pre-race preparation becomes really important. Whether you're training for it or not, if it's your first 5K, anybody can do it. If you're going to do a 10 or a 20, then a little bit of running, a little bit of upper body strength is always important. So just working at the gym around that is leading up to a race is going to, obviously going to help you with your failure rate on obstacles and your time on course. And then preventative measures. So strapping your feet properly. I always use H2O rock tape.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a plug for them, even though they're not a sponsor. But what I've found over many, many years is that the H2O glue actually works, particularly if you're running through water.
Which
You
we
get
normally
your
do.
feet wet. Yep. And there's always a water obstacle. So it stays where you put it. All right. And I've found that to be the best
Yep.
thing for a second skin. And obviously, the more you run, the more you'll understand your feet and around your hot spots. And always pre-taping is always the best way to do it. Wear some, compression socks or some calf compression is always recommended.
We use
If you
Spartan socks.
Spartan socks, Spartan shoes are always good. They drain well.
Them Spartan
Um,
socks, Rob, I love them.
Yeah.
yeah,
Good
Yeah.
and
compression as
Yeah.
well.
so they're all the little tips. Bring some yellow mustard with you, because if you do get a cramp, you suck on some yellow mustard and it shocks your body. All the pickle juices are good. All the cramp things, they all do the same thing.
Yeah,
But I
they
just
shock your
carry,
body all right.
yeah, I carry the yellow mustard with me all the time.
Just a
And the
square tube of
longer
yellow
you
mustard.
run, just the more nutrition you need to be in there. So you manage that. So make sure you're bringing electrolytes and water in your backpack, or your bladder. Bring some fruits. Dates are always good. That's a really good natural sugar. A bit of jerky while you're on
Honey's
course is
good.
good. Honey's really good. What else is there? Macadamia nuts are really good. So there's all these little hacks. So the longer you run on course, the more the hacks are valuable,
Yep.
because it's just time on course, and you just got to keep your nutrition up and your hydration up, and then the rest is easy.
That's cool.
No,
Sounds easy.
Yeah.
Did you always want to do this, or is this something that sprung to mind once it was up for sale, or however you come about to get involved with
Oh,
Spartan, or
so I think there's two parts to it. One, like I was a very big fella. I was like 150 kilos. I was probably 2 souvlakis away from a
Wow.
heart attack.
Too super.
And and I just couldn't understand what was going on. My sugar was out of control. The doctors just kept on giving me tablets. I was on like 9 tablets and a needle. And so I started to do a lot of research around, why I couldn't, lose weight, number one, two, and, why couldn't I control my sugar? And I went and spoke to this Chinese herbalist, and he just basically said to me, he goes, if you look at the monks in the mountains, they live for 200 years because they do less. And he was like, really interesting philosophy around just don't eat, right? Like don't eat, and your body will stop revving, right? But he also, to the extreme, says don't exercise. And I go, well, that's a bit bizarre. But sort of took a leaf out of his book and ended up doing a 21-day fast where I just drank water for 21 days.
21
How do you do
days.
with that?
And I lost like 20 odd kilos. I've actually got a diary that shows all this. And after like the fourth day, my blood sugar went into its range, went off all my medication, stayed in the range for the whole 20 days.
You ate nothing for 21 days.
Yeah, just drank water, no exercise.
Did you lay in bed and not move?
Oh no, I sometimes I get a little bit tired, but I have a nap in the afternoon, and that was fine. But what I figured out is that a lot of your hunger is actually thirst because I was drinking so much water. I actually wasn't hungry,
Okay.
and but the smell of food really soothed me. So the kids said that the best lunches they ever had was while I was doing my fast. So, and then I just went back to training after that. I got down to 102 kilos. Went back to the gym, started to do a bit of running, a lot of weight work, put on about 6, 7 kilos of muscle.
Yeah.
And then I started to do Spartan racing. So, that's sort of how I got into it because I just wanted to get out and just like having a clean liver, like the adrenaline impacts of having a clean liver are actually, quite interesting. I remember, I woke up like on day 15 and my wife, and I go, I just feel like I want to go for a run. And my wife goes, you haven't eaten for 15 days. What the hell are you doing?
That's
So,
unreal.
so that's sort of how I got into it. And then because of everything that was spoken around the passion, like my private investment strategy around brands is quite interesting. So I saw Spartan as a brand that, whether rightly or wrongly post COVID, it was in decline in Australia. There was a number of brands that were attached to it that were on the shelf that weren't being promoted. And I own a lot of brands, in my portfolio that start out very similarly. They're either very junior that need to be built, or they've been great and they've failed, or they're failing, or I just believe in the brand around can it be great again, right? So Spartan ticked all those boxes, and Chris did a great job to keep it alive, and it's my job now to make sure it survives in this,
Yeah.
ever changing world, right? Like
Yeah.
so. If we can find the right calendar format and the right locations and people turn up, that makes Spartan racing an amazing staple, for everybody's opportunity to get outdoors and see this great
Well,
place that we live in.
Yeah.
to give you a bit of an idea, that I think Tough Mudder must have shocked you a little bit in Melbourne because the volume of people that turned up for that was phenomenal. Like I couldn't.
Well,
Get
Tough Mudder's an interesting one, right? Like it's a very known brand. So when you talk to people, and you probably experience the same thing, and they go, "Oh, what are you doing?" "Oh, I do this thing called Spartan racing," and they go, is that just like Tough Mudder?" And you
That's
go,
what they
"Oh,
always
yes."
say.
So my whole strategy when I bought it from day one was that we've got to run a campaign that's we called it just like Tough Mudder to elevate what Spartan racing is and differentiate Spartan from Tough Mudder.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Like, so we brought Tough Mudder to Victoria for the first time this year. And look, a couple of things with that. Victoria actually holds the world record for the most Tough Mudders over a weekend. It's 24,000 people.
Wow.
And leading
Wow.
up to that event, we only had 3,000 tickets sold to about a month out. We sold 2,000 tickets in a month. So we were overwhelmed with the amount of people that turned up. So, some good marketing and some good return, people that said, oh, the first time back in, 10 odd years. So they all, wanted to be, involved. So, the Caribbean Gardens Tough Mudder is going to be an amazing venue there. So that'll be there for a number of years.
Can
Yeah.
you
I
do me
want
a
to.
favour?
Sorry.
Can you do me a favour?
Yeah.
Run it over 2 days so I can get to one of them. Like I was
Nah,
scared. I've never
definitely.
done one, and apparently they're awesome. I know there's a bit of a backlog, but everyone that got to the obstacles loved them. So yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that. So
And look, we've got solutions for that. But look, that's success. That's what success looks
that's it.
like. If you go to a theme park, there's inherently sometimes lines. So we just got to communicate better. One innovation that I want to bring to Brisbane this year is I want to bring a fast pass experience. So that, like when you go to Movie World, you buy a fast pass, it gets you to the front of the line, get your VIP parking, get you a bunch of merch and the ticket, right? And then for these iconic obstacles that inherently sometimes bottleneck, is that we've got to have a cut the line opportunity where if you go do the activation, you get an opportunity to go to the front of the line.
Yep. Yeah, have a
Um,
separate lane or something. So yeah, that's cool.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that helps solve part of the problem. Stretching the course out a little bit more is also a solution because we think Melbourne can be better designed to help with the bottlenecks. We've invested in 4 big tumblers, which are 4 big water tanks that have got 1,000 litres each. So we're setting up the white stillages that we normally have, which will feed the tumblers. So we'll have 2,000 litres over the course 5 times. So we'll have 10,000 litres on course. So there's no.
And that's drinking water or
That's all drinking
yeah,
water.
yeah, they need to know that. Yeah.
Yep. And the interesting thing with Tough Mudder, they're very different from Spartan races. They'll just turn up, no bladder, no nothing. They'll just go, we're
No.
going out, right? And we go, you're going to run 15Ks. Oh, we'll be right. And then at the 10K mark, they go, oh, water. And we go, so it's just a bit more education around,
Yeah.
particularly if we're going to be running that in summer.
Yeah, it's a lot
But
different. Yeah. It was a lot
yeah,
different. Oh, that was the first one I've done, Rob, at Melbourne.
yeah.
And it was a totally different crowd too, I reckon. It was still,
It's very group oriented.
yeah,
That's what Tough Mudder's about. So the average group size is about 25.
yeah,
So you find very rarely individuals do it by themselves, unless they're doing the Infinity or we've actually launched something in Brisbane called the Singles Wave. So you can go off if you just want to come and you got no mates, you come in this rave and you be part of that community. You can all do it together, right?
That's awesome.
So there's a lot we can do with Tough Mudder. We've invested in 5 new obstacles. So that'll be a great innovation to bring that back to Melbourne next year
yeah,
because you've done every Tough Mudder's done them all. There's one obstacle that we want to bring back that's amazing, which is called Donkey Kong. Which is the barrels. So you got to try to roll the barrel up the hill to get onto a monkey bar. But we've got 5 new
okay.
obstacles coming back to Victoria, which will be amazing. And look, the feedback was really great. There's always some things that go wrong. So, lines weren't expected, but we've got solutions for that. You just need to be entertained. So, we're going to bring entertainment to each of the obstacles, whether it be a DJ, whether it be ice baths, whether it be something, whether it be somebody blowing fire or, cutting somebody in half. I don't know. We'll figure out ways
Not
to
for me.
entertain everybody while they're being on course. Yeah, we might have a sausage sizzle out there,
Oh,
good old budding sausage sizzle
yes.
on course, you know what I mean?
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
a lot more. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
like we listen and look, we're not perfect, but we want to make sure we give amazing experiences to all of the participants, whether they're old or new, because we want them to come back.
Yeah,
We want Spartan racing and Tough Mudder racing and Decker and Highlander to be part of their lives, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, all right, one is what's your best compliment you've ever had, Rob?
Best compliment.
Hmm.
I had a guy do the course in his wheelchair. I don't know if you know Lenny.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, he's a
yeah.
Yeah,
legend. He's an
and
That is
his
absolute
cool.
mates.
legend.
And the ability to help him get on course with his support group. And then when they finished the finish line in Bright a couple of years ago, Lenny's an amazing bloke, but his support group all
Oh,
came up and hugged me for the opportunity to do the race with him because they got more out of it than Lenny did,
Yeah.
right? And
his
that,
support crew, awesome.
yeah, and for that, that's changing lives. And look, there's probably 50 stories I can tell you, that, racers have come up to me and said, if it wasn't for Spartan, I'd be dead, right? If it wasn't for Spartan, I wouldn't have dealt with my drug addiction. If it wasn't
Yep.
for Spartan, I don't know how I got through my child's death, right? So everybody's got the story,
Yep.
everybody's got and I call it the why, like, why did you do it? Um, and like I've got my why, and I got it, and I just started to do a whole bunch of stuff, and it was True Grit, and it was Spartan, and there was things in Queensland that I went out and did, and I just wanted to do things because I had a reason to do it.
Yep.
And then because Spartan was so popular, I just ended up doing a lot more Spartans because there was just a lot more Spartan races. But the whys are really important to us because if we can facilitate a medium for people to deal with adversity, right, and join the community, man, we're doing a great job. Right? Like I'm really
I agree.
proud to be part of a super positive group of participants that just keep on coming back and they keep on bringing new people, right? And that's what makes me really proud.
Yep.
I think that that scenario with a bit, everyone sort of brings someone one day, and you get introduced once.
I sucked this bloke into doing it.
Yeah, we're halfway around Australia, and Trent goes, "Oh, I'll come over to Bright." I said, "Oh yeah, we'll go for a drive. What's there?" And he goes, "Spartan." He goes, "You've done park run?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, it's only 5K." And I did it with one of my mates, and I had a ball.
Yeah.
I sucked at the obstacles, which is slowly getting better.
Yeah.
But it was just, and that environment, and
Yeah.
I
And
know I
then
sort
that's
of
the thing,
harp on
like I
about.
think you hit the nail on the head. Like you just have an absolute amazing time. When you do anything that's with a group of people, whether it's Spartan or it's Tough Mudder, whether it's Highlander, like just get out there with friends and you'll meet new people that will change your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have to be able to do what we do as such on every obstacle. And if you try it, that's like all of us, including yourself, we've been volunteers at an obstacle, and
Yeah.
for people I can't do it, we'll give it a try, and then they slowly progress, and some of them do it, like, and they surprise themselves. So
Yeah, being like I've done a lot of marshalling, and you know what? I really enjoy it. And the best obstacle to be at is the spear throw. Right. I reckon from my perspective, because you can just coach people, you can ridicule them, you can laugh at them. And, like once all the elites go through, it's just everyday people and they're all having fun.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the best one to get out there. And look, there's probably 40 different obstacles. They're all good in their own little way. And, we're just always looking for ways to enhance the experience of all the marshals. So, we've we're investing in um, these really cool chairs that have an umbrella that folds out the back.
yeah,
So that's going to be at Ivy Rock,
Oh,
just to
cool.
support our marshals. And every marshal will get a little esky with their own ice bucket, full with
beautiful.
sponsored products that they take out.
Cool.
We already got the meals sorted, but we just want to look after our marshals,
Yeah.
better.
Well,
Because I
It
think
is
we
I
do
good. It is good.
okay, but they're really important
There's nothing
part
better.
of
Like it is.
the
Yeah.
yeah
It is great fun, Marshall. Oh, volunteering.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah
The only thing is on the
and
spear throw, the people that miss, not many of them can count properly. That's what I've worked
no,
out.
that's right.
When you volunteer up there, it's funny. Like you'll see one bloke, he's doing his 10, 11, 12, and another one gets in later on and goes, and this bloke's still at 18. You think, it's a
Yeah,
bit different, but
It would.
it's up to yourself. But I know with the talking about the volunteering scenario and things like this, a lot of times we've sort of haven't been able to start a race, purely because they're waiting on volunteers, bits and pieces. And what people probably don't understand is you, the rule is if the spear goes through, away you go. If not, you do 30 burpees. So there's nothing technical, or if you fall off an obstacle, you do the penalty. So there's nothing frightening that is a volunteer has to do as a referee or a marshal. It's pretty simple. And with you guys, what you've done this year with, you know, everything that you're sort of giving the volunteer to say thank you is phenomenal, because you've got, access to obviously the food and drinks and bits and pieces like that, but you're also giving them vouchers and merch and things like that. Like it, if you're at the event, and I see it, it's awesome because you get to see every athlete at different stages. It's pretty cool. And like I said, with you guys putting so much effort into the volunteers, I think next time, these next few races, once they work out, wow, we're
Yeah.
getting all this. It's not just about you giving the Spartan. It's
Well,
them.
we're fine. Here's another announcement. So another exclusive for you boys. So at the OCR Community World Championships in Ivory Rock, we're going to be launching some trainee courses to actually be accredited as a marshal and referee. Um, so that should be released soon. But what I've thrown in to encourage a lot of people to turn up to go and get certified is that we're offering free accommodation on site if
Is
you
this
register for the course.
is this
Oh,
with
wow.
OA or is it different?
So their OA is going to be running it.
Yeah.
Um, so they're bringing in some international trainees.
Yep.
So it's pretty schmick, but so my contribution to I want 100 marshals and referees trained up in Australia so that they know all the rules, what's involved, and then they can go and help us out on site. But there's $1,000 worth of accommodation there available if you turn up.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
So keep tuned
that's
for that.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out a way to do something in Lakes Entrance as well. I've got to find a nice caravan park or a camping
There's
ground.
plenty of accommodation in
Mate,
Lakes.
Yeah, and we're going to do a similar deal where we'll pay for accommodation for the refs and marshals who have got their certification and training because, like you said, it's really important. It's actually not that hard work, but knowing the rules is really important as well. So,
Yeah.
we're gonna facilitate that training
Yeah.
mechanism and giving back, right? Like it's important that we give back. And so if somebody's going to drive 4 hours to Lakes Entrance to marshal or referee, I want to make sure I'm covering all their costs. I'm making sure they're getting fed. They've got a roof on their head, right?
And talking about lakes, Rob, I'd love to do one of them training days down here and do the 5K on the beach and
Yep.
take all my gear down there and let them have a play around. So hopefully we can do that before.
Well, we can do that as an activation, so that's
Yeah.
definitely possible. Yeah.
talk about internationals and that. You've got a fair few coming over for the OCR, haven't you? A lot of the
Yep.
athletes, like the ones
The big
you
boys.
do the Google and they come up.
There's a lot of big guys, big names.
Amazing, yeah.
There's
Amazing.
one big name that we're still working on, but we're working very hard. So we got Leon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So he's signed up. So
He's
we're
cool.
pretty excited about him. Marlene's publishing a list very shortly of everybody that's signed up. I'm working on a really big Spartan name and his wife. And if I can, lock him in, he's going to race the national series.
Wow. Is there an MC or anything, or you haven't worked?
Yeah, we've got your mate.
Oh,
He's
awesome.
coming into MC.
he is Mick, is he?
So he's amazing. Yeah, he
Right.
just jumped at it. Right.
He was awesome.
I've seen him. He was at Mammoth when I raced the OCR over
Yeah.
there in America. And that
He was playing
his
Aussie anthem for us.
yeah, his vibe is nuts. Like, anyone that's asleep, nah, they won't be sleeping at all. Like,
Nah, that's all good.
He's awesome, Mark. Yeah, he's
He'll
a
get
cool dude.
everybody pumped.
Yeah, and I think he's sort of tuning everyone over there to come over and say good day. And there's one of our other mates, John's coming over, and
That's right.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like,
we're
It's going to be a
doing Trent,
cool.
John.
It's going to be a cool couple of days. So, and it's going to be very intimate because we'll probably have 1,500 people just on the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So it's going to be pretty. Sorry.
so with the 3
Yeah,
and 15, are they on 2 separate days or same day?
So we're going to move the 3K to start at 1 o'clock after the 15K.
So 15K is on. Is that the Thursday, Rob?
That's on the Friday, and then
Friday.
the 3K is on the Friday. But we looked at the scheduling, and there actually is not a lot of time between races.
No.
So we're going to reschedule the start of the 3K at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and then the teams is on the
Teams
Thursday.
is on the Thursday.
Okay.
So that starts in the morning. I think at 8. Last wave's off at 10, and then the 80-meter rig starts.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the scenario with the 3 and 15 in the one day might be the first for OCR.
Yeah, look, I can't remember how we ended up like that. I might have had it on 2 separate days to begin with.
Yeah.
But we'll take feedback. If it's not optimal, we can move it.
Can you move it for me?
Can I move it for you?
Yeah. I need a lot of rest. It's
Yeah,
OCR's is I don't know.
Oh,
It's
different.
like Spartan on steroids.
yeah,
And the thing with probably everyone over the east side of the world, I suppose we don't see the obstacles because we're Spartan trained, I suppose. So
yeah.
that
So
OCR
we are going to do an obstacle reveal. So there's some really cool ones
beautiful.
that so very like they're just huge in their size.
Yeah.
So hopefully, my objective is that we can get to a point where we're building 10 lanes in these mega obstacles, which you will get up to them and you go, oh my god, right? But
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
yeah,
But I was talking about the new obstacles before, Rob. The tilting letters you've brought in, I've seen that.
yep,
Yep, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you're saying about you brought back the Stairway to Sparta,
that's right. We're
and that's
bringing that
been
back. So that's going to be a brand new stairway to Sparta.
is that the same as overseas or?
Well, this one's out of metal, so it's
Slippery as
It, uh,
shit.
yeah, well, I think they've got. I can't remember if it's a metal board where you've got to climb up first or
We got the
not, or
rocks.
they've still got the rocks. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, so it's like America, yeah.
yeah. So that's the one that's
Cool.
out of
That's
America.
good.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
hard, but
Hey,
good.
hard is good, right? Because
Yep,
it was
Yeah,
that's
it's
good.
easy.
hard you remember.
You talk about the
Yes.
hard one.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's pretty full on for people who are going to OCR and Spartan for that weekend. It's probably 60 or 70 Ks worth of running and I don't know, 160, 70
Well, you
dollars.
might have to bring a special award that if you go and do the whole 4 days, Michael Patera's nuts. He'll probably try
Oh,
them all.
Here we
yeah,
go.
you do it twice.
Still doing
Yes.
That's right.
Nah.
And what is something, Rob, that the listeners who listen to this that don't know about you, that
What
wouldn't
they
know about
don't
you?
know about me.
That
Okay,
wouldn't
that's an
know about you.
interesting one. Um, Well, like I was a real geek as a kid. I'm really good at numbers, but my mum encouraged me not to be a carpenter, um, which is how I ended up here. So I don't know whether or not I still would have ended up,
As a
finding
city.
Sparta or not. But my dad was a carpenter, and I just used to be holding onto his apron as a little kid. He taught me everything. So I've got a warehouse where I've got a hobby workshop there where I just in my let's call it downtime where I just want to check out. I just go out there and I just build stuff. Right. I
Yep.
love the art of building stuff with your hands.
Yep.
And if you want to see some of my handiwork, go into the merch shop and you'll see the merch container which I decked out myself.
Wow.
So that was all
Awesome.
my handiwork. Because joinery is a real craft, right? And I've got a big appreciation about it.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. That's when you're down in Lakes, you can probably bring some tools down and stay at my place. I think you'll be
Yeah,
you'll be
Can you redo my bathroom while you're down here?
yeah, I can do that. I'm willing to give everything a go.
Who would you like us to talk to one day on here?
That's interesting. Who would I like you to talk to here? I think Peter Nisbet's an interesting character.
Yep.
He's been around for a very long time. He's a really great supporter of the business. He lives in Queensland and, he's got an interesting story. Um, who else? There's a couple of, if we can get Joanna, who's our up and coming female elite.
Is that the one
She,
that bet?
Is she the one at New South
oh
Wales?
yeah, like she's
Holy
killing it,
dooly.
right? Like she's got really fast time. So I'm supporting her this year to get to Dubai and, I'd love to see if she wants to go do Trifecta World Championship.
Yeah,
But she's one to watch. Jason Frizzy,
Just
he's
writing them down.
yeah, he's a great character. I nominated him for team captain this year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Awesome.
so he's
That's
gonna, and there's 2 team captains now. So we've got Jason and Ash. I don't know if that's been released, but there's another exclusive for you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
And Arwen was nominated to be vice captain because I think he's travelling for the first time. And but he's got an amazing story because he was the first athlete that we supported with supporting Spartans
That's cool.
because of his kidney problems. But he's got an amazing story.
Yeah, we had him on a couple of weeks ago with a couple other guys, or
Ran with
a few of them.
yeah.
Tito, what's his
Oh,
Tito?
Oh, Tito, yeah, Tito,
Tito was with
Tito.
him. Shell was with him,
and
and
Amanda.
Amando, the king of talk.
So
Yeah,
so
no,
yes,
Yeah, I know he's doing that fundraiser where he's running 100Ks.
yeah, I'll go down and do some of it with them. So yeah, just to give them a
That's
hand.
perfect.
I've written them down, Rob. So
That's all good. Now, one thing for you guys, like we've got Spartans supporting Spartans, and generally what we do is we do that as the first wave of the kids race. If there's and sort of my pecking order is there a person that's looking to raise money for whatever that they need for something that's personal to them, or do they know somebody that they need to raise money for, or is there a charity that sits in Lakes Entrance that needs some support? That's something that I'd love to include in the Lakes Entrance race
maybe
Yeah,
as
lifesavers.
part of the kids race, because that's generally the first wave. I
yeah,
mean, and it's the only way for adults to get the kids race medal.
yeah.
I
They love
don't
it.
think we have t-shirts to fit them, but we give them a patch.
We could
And
try.
I can see you've got your patch on the fridge there, just on
Yeah,
the corner.
mate.
So we'd love to bring that to Lakes Entrance this year.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
amazing. That'll be appreciated. It's we've got a great surf lifesaving club down
Lovely.
here that do so much, and as you
Yep.
know, it's all volunteer and not just the Bairnsdale one, but all around
Mm.
Australia. And without
Well, let's have
those
a chat
guys,
about that because I love
yeah,
surf life saving clubs.
Yep.
that'd
It's a
be
great
cool.
community.
How do people get in touch with you, or what are you on? What socials?
So I'm predominantly on Instagram and Facebook. That's really all it is. So you can DM me there. My handle is on Instagram is 40% rule. As with
As
the words, not the sign. And there's another story behind that, but it all gets back to the
that's
you
not
know
Goggins,
the
is it?
it's a Goggins thing. Um, and it's actually really interesting because I admire all the Navy SEAL training, and it's got a lot to do with mental resilience.
Well, when we talked
And
to Goggins, he said it's all Rob Camilleri.
oh well, we try to share the glory there. But
Yeah,
the 40% rule is actually really interesting because I mean you probably faced it where you're hitting the wall during an event or during a race. And in this 40% rule where they teach you in Navy SEALs is that you've probably got as much as you've already done plus a bit more left in the tank. And that's just a natural physiologically response to your body trying to preserve your energy. Right. So if you ever feel like that, you're only at 40%, right?
Yeah.
And it's 90% up here and it's only 10% physical. So I love that. When I was reading that in one of I think I read it in another book, but not Goggins' book, where there's I can't remember the author, but it was called "I'm Training with a Navy SEAL," where he met Goggins
Yeah.
and he talks about this whole life and how he Goggins turned up to his house and lived with him for 3 months and
Oh
just
yes. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
I can't remember the name of the author, but it's an
Yep.
amazing book.
I might have listened to it, not
yeah,
read
Yeah.
can't read.
it. No, awesome.
That's beautiful.
Now, that was unreal, Rob, talking to Rob Camilleri. So, yeah, thanks for your time, Rob. It
Nah,
was great.
anytime, boys. Really appreciate your help
I'm sure.
around
Yeah,
Lakes Entrance and all the stuff that you do as an ambassador for the brand. That's amazing.
thank you, Rob.
And if anybody wants to go overseas, definitely hit up Mick and Trent because they've been everywhere. Um,
Hey,
We try, we try.
yeah,
we
and
got
they're
sponsors
a
that
wealth
want
of
to help us
knowledge
out.
Yeah,
great for the Spartan community. So thank you very much for everything that you've done.
No,
no,
thank you.
thank you, Rob.
And without that scenario of Spartan, I don't know, we wouldn't be mates as such, and we wouldn't know you and the other guy, whatever. Like
Yeah,
it's pretty simple and straightforward. That once you're in the community or family, I suppose. It's
Yeah.
Yep.
it
For
sucks you in or something. I don't know, it does something, but it's
Does
awesome.
something.
Lifelong friends. Like, we always joke that, when we we'll be doing the 60 plus age group in our walking
That's
cradles.
it.
Come on,
That's
come
not
on,
far
Mick.
away.
Come on, Mick.
Nah, that's awesome. Thank you, Rob. And thank you to the listeners to once again listening to our podcast. And stay tuned in the next week. We might be talking to maybe Peter or Joey. Yeah, we'll see how we go. And no, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rob, for having a chat to us. Catch you
That's
around.
great. You have a
Thank you.
great weekend, boys.
Thanks, Rob.
Nice to speak to you.
Happy Easter.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Thank you. See you later.
Yeah, stay off those Easter eggs.